Hi, CC1. I called you CC2 in the last video. Sorry about that. It's hard to keep everything straight. But hello again, CC1. Ms. Rosales back to talk you through your last video and your last set of notes. And so you should have your interior angle student notes up in Notability and be following along as we go. But we are going to be learning about the angles within a shape this time. So we were looking at lines last time. So we're going to start with angles in a triangle. So the sum of the angles in every triangle is 180 degrees. Together, the three angles form a straight line. And remember, a straight line or a straight angle also measures 180 degrees. So that is why that works. And down here, they have a really nice image for you. So you have these color-coded angles. So you have angle A is yellow, the blue angle B, and angle C is red. And if you were to put them all next to each other here, they would form a straight line. So we're going to use that information to solve for x in this figure. So we have our triangle, we have an angle measuring 41 degrees, an angle measuring 62 degrees, and we need to figure out angle x. So we know that the measure of all three angles added together will be 180 degrees in a triangle. So that will equal our angle 41, which we're given, plus our angle 62, which we're given, and then we don't know the third, plus x. All right, so let's go ahead and solve, and we'll start by adding 41 plus 62. 41 plus 62 equals, whoops, let me cursor back up there, equals 103 degrees. So if we took the whole triangle, 180, minus the two angles that add up to 103 degrees, that will give us x. And then 180 minus 103 is 77. So x equals 77 degrees. So let's look at a couple more. So we're going to use what we've learned about triangles and angles to write an equation that represents each situation. Then find each of the missing angles in the triangles below. So let's start with our first triangle here. Remember this time. All right, so we know that 180 degrees is equal to the sum of all three angles. So 30 plus 115 plus x will equal 180. To solve for x, we need to figure out what 300 and 115 equal. So 30 plus 115 equals 145. Oops, plus x. So now 145 plus what equals 180? Or 180 minus 145 equals 35. So x equals 35. And if we wanted to check our work, we could take 30 plus 115 plus 35. And that should give us, or equal, whoops, oh my gosh, you guys, sorry, equals 180. All right, let's have a look at our next triangle here. So in this one, same thing. Three angles always add up to 180. So this triangle is 180 equals x plus x plus x. Or we just learned about this in the last unit. To combine our like terms, 180 equals, we have three x's. So all of these degrees or all of these angles are going to be the same measure or the same amount of degrees. So we just need to divide 180 divided by 3 to get us x. And 180 divided by 3 is 60. So x equals 60. And if we wanted to check our answer, it should be 60 plus 60 plus 60 equals 180, which it in fact does. But what about other shapes? So if triangles add up to 180 degrees, let's take a look at these polygons and figure out how many triangles are in them. And so that we're going to use that to help us figure out how many degrees are in shapes with different numbers of sides. So our first shape here, we have a hexagon. I want to add a line. So I drew some lines to make this hexagon into triangles, making sure that all the triangles still had at least one side along the outer edge. So for example, we're not splitting up in, interior into smaller angles. So this figure has 3 triangles. That is going to come in handy. Okay. Let's take a look at then this figure down here. So we want to split this up into triangles, making sure that each triangle has at least one side along the outer edge. So this is the only way I can do that. And so this figure then has 2 triangles. So jumping ahead then, our hexagon has 5 sides, right? And you can make 3 triangles out of it. So what would the sum of the interior angles be? Well, if you had 3 triangles, so each one being 180 degrees, so 180 plus 180 plus 180 gives you 540 degrees. Fill in that one, we know that one too, 180. A 4-sided figure, so think of a square. You can divide a square into 2 triangles as well. Well, if each triangle has 180 degrees, the sum of those 2 triangles and their angles would give you 360. So there's a pattern here. As you go up in side lengths, you also go up in the number of triangles that can be made on the interior of a figure. Therefore, you're adding 180 to each sum of the interior angles as the side lengths go, or the number of sides go up. That might have been a little confusing. So as you go up, number of sides, so 3 to 4 or 8 to 9, you're adding 180 degrees to your sum of interior angles. So continuing on, I have a 7-sided figure here, or a septagon. And this can be split up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles. So on our chart, a 7-sided figure that has 5 triangles, you'd have 5 times 180 degrees, and each would have 900 degrees. All right, moving on to our octagon, I've split that up into triangles, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 triangles in an octagon. So maybe you're starting to see the pattern. So whatever the number of sides that you have, if you subtract 2, that's the number of triangles that can be created from it. So an octagon has 6 triangles. There's our octagon. So octagon with 6 triangles. 6 times 180 gives us a total of 180 degrees. So if you were to add this angle and this angle and this angle and this angle and this one and this one and this one and this one all the way around, they would all add up to 1080. So let's go ahead and fill in the rest of our interior angles. All right, here is our completed chart. So if you need to pause it to fill it in, you can. And then we were just talking about the pattern. So what if we have a figure with an n number of sides? So number of sides we don't know. Well, we already discovered that if you take 2 away from n, so say you have a 14-sided figure, and you subtract 2, that means it's going to make 12 triangles on the interior. And then you know that each triangle has 180 degrees. So you can take n minus 2 and then multiply that by 180 degrees. Well, it doesn't fit in there very nicely. a little bit smaller. There you go. So that is our pattern. So let's solve a couple more together. All right, we have a missing angle A on this four-sided polygon. Going back to our charts, we know that four-sided figures are going to have an interior angle sum of 360. So that means that this figure is going to have a total of 360 degrees. So 360 degrees is going to equal A, which we don't know, plus 103, which we do know. And then it doesn't give us the measure of these angles, but this little square does tell us one important thing. It tells us that it is a right angle, and a right angle equals, got it, 90 degrees. So that means we have two angles that are 90 degrees. So in this figure, 360 equals A plus 103 plus 90 plus 90. All right, if we add all those together, we get 360 equals A plus 283. So to figure out what A is, we just need to take 360 minus 283, and that gives us 77. So our angle A is equal to 77 degrees. All right, we have a couple more triangles here that we'll do together. We have triangle A here. So all of these will have a sum of 180 degrees. So 180 equals, in this case, y plus 35 plus our right angle, so plus 90. So 180 is equal to y plus 125. Okay, 180 minus 125 is 55, so angle y is equal to 55 degrees. All right, moving on to triangle B. Right here, so 180 degrees is equal to 65 plus 55 plus x. So that gives us 180 equals 120 plus x. And then if we take 180 minus the 120 degrees that we know, that gives us 60, which means angle x equals 60 degrees. All right, and our final triangle, triangle C, we have a little more detective work we have to do on this one. So we are given an angle outside of the triangle, but not inside. So right now we only have 180 equals x we know, and 100 we know. So we need to figure out this angle. We do know though that this is a straight line. So these two angles, 148 and this angle we are unsure of, are supplementary angles, which means they add up to 180 degrees. So if I do 180 minus 148, I get 32. So this interior angle is 32 degrees. So if I simplify that, I get 180 equals x plus 132. So to figure out what x is, I take 180 minus 132, and that equals 48, which means our angle x equals 48 degrees. All right, I know there was a lot of information again, but again, go back and use all of your other notes that we've gone over this week to help you. They all kind of play together and work together. And go back and rewatch this if you have questions, or come to any of our office hours at 12:30. Good luck and have a good rest of your week.